What is up, guys? Welcome to this new video. In this video we're going over the patch notes of the 12th of November 2025, and it is a big one. We finally have operations out. This is what we've been waiting for a hot while now. We finally have a new kind of dungeon crawler like game mode in Stalcraft, and it brings some huge meta changing new things with it. So without further ado, let's get started. If you enjoy my videos and want to support me directly, you can become a member today by pressing the join button. For less than the price of a coffee, members get exclusive badges, early access, behind the scenes updates, and even exclusive long form content you won't see anywhere else. Your support helps me keep creating and will be invested straight back into the channel. So click join and I'll see you inside. Now back to the video. So first of all, new session PvE mode operations. This new mode is available in the Operations tab of the Session Battles section. It challenges players to work together to complete tasks and battle both regular enemies and bosses in order to earn the final reward. So, how to join Operations. Operations become available after the player completes the Operation Breach quest. This quest is available to all players who have accessed the bar location. It is not necessary for the entire squad to complete the task, it is enough for the leader to do so. After that, it will be able to launch the operation even if the other two members of the squad have not completed the task. A representative of Zivcast named Phil has appeared at the bar, ready to give anyone who wants it a new and interesting task. If you want to know how to complete this quest, you can click the eye icon in the right top corner here. I will make a video on it as soon as possible and it should appear on the right top corner here. Then, the classes in Operation. Operations use the player's own equipment, and depending on the armor equipped, they are assigned a class with a unique set of skills. Combat suits become Assault class, combo suits the Operative class, and Scientist suit the Support class. The Assault class specializes in battlefield control, provoking enemies, and managing damage. Its playstyle is based on a balance between aggression, survivability, and gaining strength from damage taken. Then the Support class. This class specializes in team support, combining healing and protection. It creates recovery zones, enhances ally survivability, and provides steady combat support through medic bullets. Its abilities make it an indispensable team member, ensuring the team's survival. Then the Operative class is a class that excels in stealth and precise enemy strikes. It can deal significant damage to specific targets and quickly vanish when needed. It plays cautiously, selecting targets for attack, hiding to regroup or launch surprise assaults, and becomes stronger when allies are nearby. Operations will have different clearance levels. The clearance system represents the difficulty levels of operations, and the higher the clearance level, the stronger the opponents. So for example, clearance level 1 will be the easiest, and then clearance level 25 I think will be the hardest. At levels 3, 6, and 9, a new condition is added to clearance, a modifier, and the modifiers are designed to complicate and supplement gameplay when playing at high clearances. These modifiers also change every week, and then, every week a new set of modifiers is updated. Please note that clearance levels are leveled up separately for each operation. Clearance may also be reset in the event of major changes in balance or the economy. Then, how to play operations. More detailed information about operations and their features can be found in the updated in-game guide, which is located in the how to play section of the operations tab. I definitely recommend taking a look at this. I played some of the open test server of operations, and you definitely need some info on how to play before you can partake in this. So, don't forget to look at the how to play section. It will be important, especially if you haven't played operations yet. 2 operations are currently available. In Operation Big Cleanup, players will face the following challenges: capture of communication hubs, power supply for photon generators, and defeat the Ratcatcher boss. And then in the second one, Operation Focusing, players will need to escort the anomaly, make laser incision, and defeat the Storm boss. More details about the boss's tasks and abilities are described in the how to play section. This is something that is very needed to look at, because I remember that from the open test server I had no idea what the boss, its abilities or thing was. So that's something you really need to know to be able to defeat the boss, otherwise you're just gonna kind of fuck it up for the rest of your team. The mode is designed to be played by a team of 3, but operations can also be played solo. However, be ready. For a single person, this challenge will be a real nightmare, so take it at your own risk. Then operations rewards. These are super interesting as well. So rewards for successful completion. After successfully completing the operation, the player will be able to choose one of 3 rewards. Depending on the clearance level of the completed operation, the quality of the rewards increases. The player may once replace each of the rewards they have received with in-game currency. The number of rewards for successfully completing operations is limited, and the counter is updated every Wednesday at 5 server time. So that's 5 UTC plus 3, which, yeah, I don't know, I would say Google that too, do that to your own time zone, because I can't really say it for every time zone in existence. So a list of rewards that can be obtained for successful completing of the operation. You can get Quasi-Destructors, advanced tools, advanced spare parts, module cores of standard, unusual and special quality, catalysts, trade coins, module inhibitors, and in-game currency. Now, there might be some new words in there. Don't panic, we're gonna take a look at them in just a second. Then there's also weekly rewards. In weekly rewards, you can receive module cores of any quality, from common to legendary, and module inhibitors. You may select one reward from 3 offers if you have fulfilled the conditions for unlocking these offers. One offer is 1 successful operation, 2 offers 3 successful operations, and 3 offers 5 successful operations. The higher the level of clearance achieved, the greater the chances of receiving a more valuable reward are. If you do not make a selection within a week, a random reward will be issued. One of the new things is modules. The main reward for operation is the module core, which is used to create the modules themselves. Modules are improvements that can be installed on any weapon. This is honestly huge, and let's be real, meta changing. We're gonna take a look at all these things, these properties they can get in a second, but this is huge. This is essentially like an extra artifact effect, kinda, but only for your gun. So this is gonna completely change the way that we use guns, and honestly, I'm all here for it. I think it's cool to add a layer of complexity and, you know, tactics to these loadout buildings, and not only keep it to artifacts. So modules are improvements that can be installed on any weapon. Modules consist of 3 components: an add-on, which is a positive base property that affects weapon characteristics by percentage. Then concept, a positive base property that affects weapon characteristics by percentage or a special property. And then deviation, a negative base property that affects weapon characteristics by percentage. So the significance of the positive and negative effects of the modules depends on their quality. In turn, quality depends on the best property among those available. For example, if a module has a special add-ons and concept, so that's blue, but has a rare deviation, which is pink, then the quality will be rare, so pink rarity. The following qualities are the ones available: usual, unusual, special, rare, exceptional, and legendary. So essentially what we're used to. Now the question remains, how do you create and interact with these modules? So to create and subsequently modify the module, the following are required: core inhibitors, which is a currency to replace the properties of a module being created. It can be transferable and purchased in the shop for Stal coins. The Quasi-Destructor, an item used to extract and remove the personalization of a module installed on a weapon. Then module cores, items required to create a module on the new machine. And the new machine, a table for creating modules installed at the bar and at the faction's northern bases. After obtaining the core, the player must take it to the new machine to create a module. And this will kind of look like this, as you can see. The module is created without any additional resource investment, and the player only needs the core. However, it has certain settings for less random creation, but in turn, they will need to be replaced to create the desired combination, and this will consume a special resource, the core inhibitor. Using core inhibitors, it is also possible to change the characteristics of the module, so this is how you can kind of really specialize or like nitpick which aspects you want to really build the build in the way you want it. As part of operations, compensation for technical Zivcast token is provided, and the compensation itself will be made a little later. When creating a module for the first time, you cannot select which property categories to discard, and when creating the module again, those categories that were previously excluded can be removed. The selection of add-on, concept, and deviation categories opens gradually. The categories that you have previously unlocked by obtaining a module with certain properties become available for selection. Excluding the category costs a certain amount of core inhibitors. With each additional exclusion, the cost increases. After selecting categories, you can create a module where the players can also replace the characteristics with core inhibitors. So you kind of need to build towards this nitpicking of the aspects that you want, which I do think makes sense. Otherwise, everybody will have like the build they want day one, which you need to kind of like work for it, which I get, but I do think this will be very grindy in practice, but you know, that's just something we'll have to see. There's no need to research the module further. Module specifications are known immediately, which I do think is nice. The following items may be sold at auction: modules, transferable quasi-detectors, module cores, and module inhibitors. Then the properties and categories of modules. This is pretty big in my opinion. So First, the add-on groups, which is like we remember a positive aspect that we get. We have 4 different categories: accuracy, control, speed, and convenience, and they can all have a sort of a second part to it, which for accuracy can be vigilant, sustainable summarizing, for control vertical, horizontal, and smooth, and so forth. You can just see it on the screen. I'm not going to read all of them out, but you can see there's some really interesting aspects that you can get, like reduced hipfire spread, reduced recoil increases speed when aiming, increases speed with weapons. So when holding your weapon, it will give you speed, which is kind of interesting. I feel like you can make something fun with that as well. Increased ergonomics, stabilization, and all that good stuff. Then the deviation groups, which is the negative one. Essentially, it's same things, but negative. So increased recoil instead of reduced, and that type of stuff. And then the concept groups is also very similar, just different names. So these are some of the same ones. However, we also have different ones, like significantly reduces recoil increase up to the point of recoil vector change. So the recoil will go down, which would be honestly pretty insane. I don't know if I would necessarily want that. And then you also have things like increases minimum damage in exchange for maximum damage, and the opposite, increases limb damage, increases movement speed after killing an enemy. It has this healing after killing an enemy. I think this will be absolutely huge, this one. Then increases damage to first shots, increases damage to last shots. Also, I think I can see a spot in the meta for these. This one is honestly also pretty crazy. Deals additional damage for each missing percentage of the target's health, which that's just gonna make you like absolutely annihilate somebody. Then increases damage to plates, increases damage to the head and limbs in exchange for reduced damage to plates. So many cool things. Honestly, I can see one of these, like for example, the sniper perk can be good for bold actions to give him that slight edge maybe. We'll see how that works out in practice. But this opens up a whole new area of new sort of meta builds and loadout choices that you can make, which I do like in a game like this. So to install the module on a weapon, you just have to put it in a slot that has been added here at the bottom, and then the module is installed. Once the module is installed, it is personalized, and it becomes transferable when removed from the weapon. Only one module can be installed on each weapon. Now, how do you remove a module then? So there are 2 ways to remove a module from a weapon. You can just remove it and destroy it in the process, or you can remove it without destroying it, which requires a Quasi-Destructor. You know, this is kind of similar as to with artifacts, where you have to use I forgot what it's called, but not the changing serum, but the orange one, where you can make an artifact transferable again. So it's kind of similar to that, I assume. But yeah, I think that makes sense, honestly. If you want to make something transferable again, you have to have some item. That's the way it works in this game. Not too surprised by this. Modules that are not installed on weapons can be disassembled at the new machine, and when disassembling a module, a certain number of core inhibitors are issued. Clicking on the replenishment button will open a tab where you can disassemble modules into core inhibitors. So yeah, I guess that's a nice way to get some more core inhibitors. When you click on the restore modules button, you will be taken to a window where the modules you have disassembled are stored. If you want to buy them back at a markup, that depends on the quality of the module. Please note that the module can be restored within 1 day, otherwise it will disappear forever. Destroyed and sold modules cannot be restored. If the module was installed on a weapon that is subsequently used in barter, it will automatically be transferred to the new weapon. That's, I guess, a nice quality of life change. Then challenges. They've also added challenges for the operations episode. So as you can see, a bunch of challenges that reward you with module inhibitors and season pass points. So that's pretty cool. Then specific objectives of operations also can give you unique rewards. So for example, you can get some backgrounds for your profile, or you can get some module inhibitors, you can get some patterns for your profile. You know, that's pretty cool, honestly. A sticker, some Quasi-Destructors here as well. That's cool. I like that we can get some more customization for that profile design as well. Then they've added the following tasks to the season pass: successful completion of any operation, elimination of enemies, elimination of elite enemies, and you know, a bunch more relating to clearance and classes. So that's pretty cool as well. So we can get some XP for that. Then they note that the operations are created by our team and they are just the beginning, so our feedback is going to be especially important to Expo. Therefore, they ask to, give them as much feedback as possible, and with that help, they will determine where to go next in developing the mod, and they will not stop until they improve operations forever, I guess, eliminating all controversial issues based on your feedback, and these are not just your words. Dead time mode has become unavailable with the release of operations, and it may later be brought back as a permanent or temporary activity, but is unavailable for now. Then there's also new sets in the shop. Sets with inhibitors have been added to the in-game shop. This is an excellent opportunity to experiment with creating modules faster than many others, for yourself, for friends, or for buyers at auction. They kind of do play into the whole, like, you can pay for it and get it faster than everybody, which is the one thing that I was kind of, not too happy about. But hey, it's a free online game. They're gonna make money somehow. You can also buy the inhibitors for season currency, so that is nice in my opinion. The shop also now offers the final season pack. They've also added new achievements related to operations, like Dungeon Driver, Lift Operator, Senior Lift Operator, Mower, Hold the Door, Damn You Rat, and Riders on the Storm. Then they have made changes to the South daily and weekly tasks. The rewards and principle of issuing daily and weekly tasks on the bar's contract provider have been updated. New tasks have also been added, and some old daily orders have been changed. Changes to non-premium daily tasks. The barter reward on the contract provider in the bar is no longer repeated for multiple daily orders. Clearance to more advanced barter resources opens up as the bar's reputation level increases. Reputation level requirements for opening daily and weekly non-premium quests have been changed, so now you just need to have a certain level to unlock a certain amount of daily and weekly tasks, which makes sense. That's like how it is in most places. The amount of in-game currency and reputation awarded for daily quests has also been revised. The new reward more accurately reflects the complexity of daily tasks in relation to each other. New daily orders have been added. The contents of some old daily tasks have been changed as well. Then changes in non-premium weekly tasks. The non-premium weekly general order has been replaced by 2 weekly orders, which may appear simultaneously. Before it was giving you a beta data fragment. Now it will give you more intermediate rewards, which I do think is good. Then change in rewards for premium contracts. Copper wire has been removed from the list of possible barter items for daily and weekly premium contracts on the bar's contract provider. The number of barter resources available for selection for completing daily premium contracts has also been changed. They have essentially mostly just been buffed. You get more, which is, I do think, good, because some of the quests in the bar were just too much work for the amount of things you got from them, so I do think that's a good choice. Then weekly premium contracts have been replaced with a single contract. Complete 10 daily orders in the bar, and the number of barter resources available for selection upon completion of a weekly premium contract has also been changed. Overall, some of them have just gotten their quantity increased as well, so that's pretty good. The cash reward was also adjusted. Then Arsenal economic updates. Arsenal's economy required rework and balancing adjustments, so the following changes were made. The weight of the resource box has been reduced from 15 kg to 7.5 kg. Then they've also changed the amount of reputation a player receives when selling a resource crate to Arsenal, and they've essentially just increased it, which I do think is good. From what I've heard from people, I haven't really Arsenal a lot myself, so I can't really judge too much on that from experience. Then some resources have also received a new sale value for Arsenal, as you can see. Some got increased, some got reduced slightly. Again, let's see how it works out in practice. They also changed some offers to buy resource crates. You can see them right now on the screen. Again, new prices, some of them lowered, some of them slightly higher. Yeah, we'll see how it works out in practice. Then session battle edits or, changes. The maximum match duration and match duration for receiving the maximum rewards on the large session battle maps have been reduced by 5 minutes. The required duration of holding a point on the prison map has been reduced from 10 to 8 minutes. Now only one large session battle map is active at a time. The map changes every 15 minutes in the following order: Streets of Pripyat, Borough, Collapse, and Coliseum. Then they increased the number of points required to receive the maximum personal reward on large maps and the prison map by 1.5 times. They've increased the total amount of rewards distributed, one on large maps by 30% and on the prison map by 2 times. The maximum number of players on the prison map has been reduced from 30 to 24, and the number of players required to complete the warm-up has been increased from 10 to 12. The forced end time when capturing all 5 points on large maps has been increased from 2 to 3 minutes. Then Season Pass tasks. Tasks will no longer repeat upon rerolls until all available ones have been offered and a new cycle begins. This is huge, because nothing is more annoying than rerolling and just keep getting the same tasks like every 2 tasks. and you're like, okay, well, I'm wasting my rerolls here. So I do think this was very much needed. Then balance changes, movement speed adjustments. They're changing artifacts again, aren't they? Reworked 50% of all movement speed bonuses from consumables and artifacts into a new stat, running speed. Alright, that's fine. Guess I'll just restart on that whole part of the artifact video again. Unlike general movement speed, which affects all character motions, running speed only affects sprinting. For example, if a character has 10% movement speed and 10% running speed, the total running speed bonus will be 20%, while other movements will only receive 10%. So it's only when you're running that this, running speed adds on to the normal movement speed bonus. So, because of that, artifacts and consumables have gotten their values changed. For example, the Redana got its movement speed reduced in half, essentially, to 1% instead of 2%, but they have added the running speed property of 1.35, so technically it got a 0.35 buff, but only when sprinting, so I'm not necessarily sure whether it's really a buff. We'll have to see how it feels, but I guess it is to kind of curb people running really fast without sprinting, especially in PvP. I guess this is gonna make a difference if you're not sprinting. So like side strafing with a high movement speed isn't gonna be as effective anymore. I do think this is good for the health of the game, because it did make PvP a little bit too tedious. But I'm not sure how I feel about this. We're gonna see how it is in practice. And as you can see, most of them have just essentially gotten their movement speed taken halved and then added running speeds, usually slightly more than the half that they got taken from them. So I guess if you only use it when sprinting, it's a slight buff. Same goes for the consumables that had movement speed in them. Then overweight system changes. Overweight stages now have distinct penalties. Green overweight, you get your speed drops by minus 50% and stamina consumption is times 3. Then yellow overweight stage, speed is reduced by minus 30% and stamina consumption is times 4. Then orange, speed is reduced by minus 45% and stamina consumption is times 5. And then the red overweight tier, speed is reduced by minus 60% and stamina consumption is times 5. And you also get a running restriction, so you cannot run anymore. This used to be at like the slight overweight that you weren't able to run, so I do actually think this is good because at least now you can run a lot less fast, but also, with more stamina consumption. Let's see how that works. With this minus 15 speed, I feel like this green stage is kind of better. If you're just slightly overweight, you can still run, which I guess makes a difference, so we'll see. Then compensations. For 1 month, compensation will be available for artifacts affected by the reaction changes from the patch notes of the 15th of October. If you haven't watched that video, you can click the eye icon in the right top corner here to watch that. Only artifacts whose reactions properties were significant are eligible, and if an artifact is eligible, a small star will appear on its icon, and compensation is fully optional. You can accept or decline it. This is a list of eligible artifacts. You can check out if you have any of these that you would like to get compensation for. Then, weapon changes. Revise the value of certain quest rewards to make them more relevant. Previously, these items were often received when the player already had equal or better equipment, making the quest item useless. So these quest weapons have all gotten their value changed, which I do think is nice because I remember getting the RPD. It was still useful for the story, but it did kind of feel underpowered, but this was very useful in the last kind of part of the South story. Yeah, I'm not going to give too much spoilers, but it is useful. Let's put it that way. It's nice to have a big mag in that story quest. Then the KS-12 Comrade has got an automatic fire mode now, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. Then other changes, they've added the ability to unpack large items using control and right mouse button. They fixed the low render distance of the Veil Smoke Grenade effect. On player death, a timer is applied to their backpack and only the following players can loot during that period: the killer, members of the killer squad, members of the victim squad, and the only exceptions are deaths in wild zones, that's via surrender button or from strange pain. In such cases, timer is not applied. So this kind of already used to be like this. I think what they mean is this one, the deaths in wild zones. Now if you get killed by something else in a non-wild zone, I'm assuming they mean like the zones where the animals spawn in the north. I'm not too sure. your backpack will still get a timer, which didn't used to be like that. I'm not entirely sure what the change is with this one. If you know, let me know down below in the comments. Then the crimson case can now be turned into hideout decoration. Added a new context menu option. Hey, look, I'm all for new hideout decoration, so I do like this. They've updated the model of the EOTech collimator sight. They've updated base paint masks for Hounds and Investigator exoskeleton. They've updated the models for Diversion Knife, Survival SP8 Ontario Machete, and the Hunter's Machete. They've updated list of items which can be added to trade packs in Merchant's Assortment on faction basis. They've updated the firing signs for the OTS-14 Groza and the OTS-14M Surge. They increased the draw speed for primary and secondary weapons after climbing onto ledges. This is huge because this was so annoying if you, like, especially on an outpost climbing up. This is gonna be honestly a very huge change. Weapon visual effects no longer remain on screen while hanging from a ledge. Adjusted voice chat volume thresholds. Fixed auto scrolling in personal storage when taking an item with any filter enabled. This is also kind of nice that doesn't happen again. And then fixed interaction window closing with NPC when opening personal storage from their interface. Huge, finally. Remember trying to barter stuff, going to grab your barter stuff from the personal storage, and you're booted out of the NPC's window. This is gonna be no more. Finally. I'm happy they finally fixed that bug. Then they added an option in settings to disable hit markers. Styles and motives are now bind on use by default, except those already marked as bound or bind on receive. Already equipped non-bound skins will become bound after re-equipping. They've slightly increased the area of the mercenary camp and rise base. They've updated the models of the Arc and Navigator jumpsuits. They fixed disappearing weapons caused by incorrect grenade throws. They fixed multiple naming inconsistency bugs. They fixed multiple translation inconsistency bugs across all languages. They fixed the translation of several legacy items, and they've updated Spanish localization. Southern quests, side quests, weekly and daily quests have been fully translated. That is it for this patch notes. It was a pretty big one, many new changes, and of course the release of operations, something we've been waiting on for so long. Let me know what you think of it. Are you excited to head into operations? What do you think of the arsenal changes? And what do you think of this new module meta actually, like, that's coming now? I'm very excited for it. Let me know what you think down below. If you want to stay up to date with all the Stalcraft news, I upload at least weekly, so if you want to stay up to date, be sure to subscribe. Also have a bunch of cool gameplay videos and quest guides available. If you want to watch some more Stalcraft content, you can click here on the left for those gameplay videos, and you can click here on the right for a video that YouTube thinks you will like. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the zone, Stalkers.